My grandmother Mitchell was very religious.
What denomination?
We think at this stage she might have been the Seventh Day, but we've never heard that expression from her. The only thing is she went to church on Saturday. So she was very religious and she lived a very religious life. A lot of giving, a lot of care, self-sacrificing. It's actually a joke in our house of the self-sacrificing Mitchells. Very self-sacrificing. And she brought her daughter up, what I thought quite hard. For example, Auntie Fina, her daughter, was not allowed to look in a mirror at herself because that was vain. Quite strong about that, and makeup. So she was a really quiet, strong person, but she wouldn't go around making trouble. Never ever making trouble.
That mirror thing, that's almost Amish.
Yes, it's based on those old
very fundamentalist. You separate yourself.
She didn't even believe in education. No radio, no books.
I guess the other thing to think about, which would be quite funny, is that even back then, though by today's standards you had nothing, still very staunchly resistant about embracing new things, technology, and...
Yes, the old ways.
Yes. Which is hard to imagine back in the 30s.
Yes, well, I sort of, when I got to know her husband, Bill Mitchell, died in 1945. And my aunt, who lived in Hobart, in Goulburn Street, West Hobart, came round because Auntie Feen was sort of the brains of the second family, and she sort of took over and got burial things. She organised things, and her mother brought her back to Goulburn Street, and she lived with Auntie Fina until she died in, I think, 1956. So she lived with her 21 years. So she went round there. But then my grandmother would often want to see her children, and she'd come round to the West Coast and she'd spend quite a few months with her younger son, Bill, and her other son, which was my father, Horace. And she would try and spend some time, she did spend time with her eldest son, Frank, down the Loon River. And she'd catch up with her other son, Laurie, and she'd do that. And it was almost a year, and then she'd go back to Auntie Feen for a few years and then want to come round to the West Coast again. So she used to stop with us, and she was always very quiet and never ever any trouble or fights, or she never interfered. But funnily enough, we all knew David was a favourite, and I can't think of a thing she said or did, but we all knew David was a favourite.
But she virtually raised him. That's the point, though,
But we knew
isn't it?
she never. I can't think of a thing she did to back that up.
But I guess if you look at the circumstances surrounding
Naturally.
the fact that she virtually saved David from the coffin, there would be an incredible bond there.
Yeah.